know some of you personally from different things in life, not necessarily all mental health, and I know it's pretty incredible that you would come today and spend your day trying to make the city and the county a better place when it seems like the world is becoming so polarized. I can't be on next door anymore because so many people are writing such hateful things about people that are homeless.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Reva Stevens, and I am appointed by Supervisor Markovich on the 2nd Missouri District. What's happening, Service Area 5? Make some noise. Y'all in the house, right? And I'm always excited to hear from the community about concerns. My passion is mental health and homelessness. And I sit on many boards and committees, but one in which I would like to share more about is the ad hoc on Black people experiencing homelessness, where we are really taking a deep dive and look at not only are we overrepresented in the homeless system, but also in the criminal justice system, in the welfare system, the child welfare system, and how important it is to address the many facets of homelessness, because there are so many. I experienced 21 years of my life homeless. And by the time I walked through the doors of the Department of Mental Health, facing 4.5 years in prison on a 3-year joint suspension with an enhancement, undiagnosed, knowing as far back as I can remember that there was something wrong with me, and totally disconnected from the spiritual aspect of what I was brought up in. I just believed that I was doomed and that God wanted nothing at all to do with me. You know, but thank God for God. So I'm extremely happy to be here today. And I'd like to ask one question. How many of you participated in the homeless count? So I was expecting a little more hands. But I want you to know that it happens every year. This is the homeless count time, that point in time count. That is critical to funding for all of our communities. And also to add that in the 2nd District covers parts of Service Area 4, parts of Service Area 5, all of Service Area 6, and a portion of Service Area 8. Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Marilla McCurry Scott, and I was appointed by Supervisor Sheila Kuehl from District 3. I live and work in Service Area 2, which is in the San Fernando Valley, or that portion of Service Area 2. I am a psychologist by trade. And as I have reflected on why psychology, it really started, my interest started as a child when I was living with family members with mental health and substance use issues, and I didn't understand or have the language to understand what was going on in my experience. And so I've dedicated the past 20 plus years as a psychologist to community mental health, working with children and their families as well as with adults, trying to wrap services around them in a very fragmented system, and yet trying to do the best that we could to provide the care that these families so needed. I currently work at a community-based mental health center focused actually now in HR, because what I learned in overseeing and developing and providing care was that many of our service providers too have mental health challenges. They hear and have experienced trauma, and they too need the support and the guidance as well in order for them to provide the care that our families and children and adults need. I'm excited to be a part of the commission, and I have been for a few years, because there's such an opportunity to transform our mental health service delivery model, and I am excited to be involved with that process. So thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Kathy Cooper Ledesma. I'm the senior pastor of the Hollywood United Methodist Church which, if you know Hollywood, it's at the corner of Highland and Franklin with a large AIDS red ribbon on its tower for the past 26 years. The tower has been there, the ribbon on the tower, not me. I haven't been there quite that long. But I have been there a long time. I was appointed by Sheila Kuehl in Supervisorial District 3 because of the passion that I had for a woman who lived on our corner for 16 years, who had a trimorbidity factor of schizophrenia, of being a senior citizen, and of being chronically homeless. And I knew it should not take 16 years to get her conserved, but it did. And it was with the great work of Anthony Ruffin, who was at the time with Housing Works, an agency in Hollywood, and many of our church members who helped love her up for those years, and now she is in a stable geopsychiatric facility, and I see her on a regular basis, and I'm just grateful for that opportunity. And I wanted to see if that experience could translate into helping the commission and the vision of a better service delivery process happen. So I'm glad to be with you this afternoon.
Still slightly morning, and since I haven't had my first cup of coffee yet, good morning. I'm Imelda Padilla Frausto. I am appointed by Hilda Solis in District 1. I'm relatively new. I am also a research scientist at UCLA Center for Health Policy Research. Even though I've just recently been given my credentials as a researcher, I've actually started my research when I was a teenager, so almost 30 years ago now, when my brother became ill and was eventually diagnosed with schizophrenia. This impacted my family in many, many ways, and this was during a time where there wasn't a lot of support or services or connections, and so I really have dedicated my life to improving services. I do believe that we can provide services in a more loving and kind and gentle way. I saw my brother's illness be criminalized through the justice system, and that was very heartbreaking because that was the only way my mom could get hand services, and it really had a major impact on our lives. I am also a consumer of services, and I have actually had several other family members with mental illnesses that I believe were a result of a lot of the traumatic experiences that we experienced in our young lives. So my passion is really on prevention and early intervention and reducing a lot of the social determinants that contribute to mental illness, especially among our youth. And so that's where I'm at, and I'm really happy to be a part of this process and to get to know more people and to be a better service to everyone. So thank you.
Thank you for welcoming us to your city in Santa Monica and for sharing your perspective today and your stories. We do have some of the program, quite a few elements to this program right now, and I'm going to call Commissioner Dalgleish to introduce our first presenters from Safe Place for Youth, or SPY. You'll see that they do have a booth down here outside that I hope you'll pay attention to a little later. But for now, Commissioner Dalgleish.
One of the wonderful programs that we have in Service Area 5 is Safe Place for Youth, also known as SPY. And SPY is here today in many different capacities. There's a wonderful resource table area outside that I really hope that you will go and visit while you're here. And in addition, some young people from SPY are going to introduce themselves, tell you a little bit about the program, and then they'll be doing a mindfulness exercise. Thank you. So I would like to take this opportunity to introduce Adam Arce and Trevion Beck. There's a misspelling of Trevion's name. It is actually Treivon from Safe Place for Youth. Thank you.
coordinator for the Healing Arts program.
Hello, I'm Trevion D. Beck. I'm also with Safe Place for Youth, and I'm the Garden Care Navigator.
So in SPY, we are in Spot 5, right off of Lincoln and Garfield in Venice, and we are basically a service provider for TAY Youth, and we have a myriad of different programs that we offer in there, ranging from like case management to education and employment to the Healing Arts program, medical, dental, and honestly the list goes on. But in the Healing Arts program, we do a program called MyPath, and it is basically a mindfulness program where we use it to reduce violence within inside of our space, but not only just in our space, also within our community. So your guys are going to get a little preview of that today.
Yes. So Adam said we're about to do a MyPath session. So today I want to get you guys doing some little Qigong here, which is a type of standing meditation where you don't have to move too much. You don't have to like be on the floor dipping and diving, kind of like traditional yoga. So at most, only if you want to, I will ask if you all could just take a stance and like maybe get a little bit of space. You don't have to get too, I don't want to make it too complicated and have people like doing too much, but as long as you can kind of like fully extend your arms outwards without, hitting someone. So that's the first step. All right. And it may be hard to hear because I'm going to instruct you guys as I move with you. All right, so when we do Qigong, we always start with a slight bend in our knees. So keep your feet about shoulder width apart. Have a nice slight bend in your knees, and you can have your hands at your center on your belly button. So we're going to start with an exercise called pushing the heavens or pushing the sky. Because you guys are all powerful divine beings and you have the ability to push the heavens. So you'll start by breathing in like this and taking your hands coming up. And as soon as they get to about your face, you're going to flip them towards the sky and push, breathe out, and either focus on a single point or just have your eyes closed. And you can keep doing that with me. We'll do like 5 more repetitions. So fingers connected here at the belly button, breathing in. And as your breath gets full, flip the hands, push out, and breathe out, bringing it back to the center. And remember to go at your own rhythm, your own pace. We all have different lung capacities. So it's meant to be done at the rhythm of your breath. So let's go one more time here, breathing in. Flip the hands as they get close to your face here towards the sky. Push out, breathe out, and focus on your center point. Bring the hands back to the center here and take 2 deep breaths. Not judging yourself, not judging any thoughts that you may have, just simply letting them be, just being mindful of them is what we're doing. From here, we're gonna reach for the stars, the second exercise here. So you're just gonna breathe and just reach out and push out like this. Your right hand will come up and your left hand will come below you, right behind your buttocks here. And the right arm will go up in the air as far as you can go. And then you'll breathe in like this. As soon as you get here is when you'll breathe out in transition. So in one steady flow, it looks like this. Breathing in, left arm is coming down, right arm is coming up, and breathe out. Breathing in, right arm is coming down here. Your left arm should be coming back up, and breathing out. Let's do that one more time. Breathing in, and breathing out. Taking your hands back to the center point as I showed you before. Taking 2 more deep breaths and focusing on your center point. All right, from here, we're gonna do a little static Qigong. It's a little bit easier, but it's a little more centering. So we're gonna start with holding the ball. Just extend your hands out like this, like you're holding a ball, but keep your shoulders loose, keep the hands loose and drapey, and just breathe in and focus on your center point. Focus on channeling energy into your hands like this. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Let's do it one more time. We're here holding the ball, breathing in and breathing out. Now we're going to transition and push our hands upward towards the sky once again, but hold it here. And we're going to do the same thing, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. We're just pushing blood and energy to our limbs. That's all it takes is a little movement and breath, and you're doing Qigong successfully. We're going to transition our hands here like this next to our sides, rounding our energy now, breathing in and breathing out, keeping the shoulders relaxed and focusing on a center point or having your eyes closed. Breathing in and breathing out. I don't know how much time we have, but we're gonna have the final grounding exercise kind of similar to the one we started with, where we're gonna have that slide bend on our knees, shoulder width apart, but we're gonna scoop some energy like this, like we're scooping the air. So breathing in, and as your hands get here, your fingertips will connect again, and you'll push the energy towards the ground. Breathing out, stopping at about your belly button. Let's do that about 2 more times. Breathing in. Having those fingertips reconnect at the top and pushing it down, breathing out. Final one here, we're all very powerful. Let's send all that negative energy down into the earth and ground ourselves. And that's it, guys. That's a little bit of mindfulness, a little qigong. I didn't know how much time I had, but I just wanted to get us moving a little bit. So hopefully I helped. We're always moving really fast all the time, so I wanted us to slow it down a little bit and just do something together. It's hard to do yoga and stuff, but this is something we can do together. So I hope you guys appreciate it. I appreciate you.
Bravo!
Thank you so much. That was the perfect timing too for all of us.
Where do you get the lunch?
Next, Service Area 5 has a wonderful person who is at the top of the food chain, and that would be Jackie Wilcoxon, or Jacqueline Wilcoxon. We'll go over here. Jackie is the person that most of us go to when we're trying to navigate something with the department. She works with all of the contract agencies. She's also a clinician. And we've asked her to be part of this program so that she can tell you a little bit about what the department here in Service Area does and what she does. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Welcome, everyone, to Service Area 5. It is beautiful. My name is Jackie Wilcoxon, and I have the honor to be the manager for services in Service Area 5 with the Department of Mental Health. And the SAC co-chairs, or SALT, I guess, asked me to just say a few things about the service area. I first want to start with your packages. So inside, when you arrived, you got a lot of information. One of the handouts are all of the open service area meetings in Service Area 5. You are all going to get an invitation from us to attend our Service Area Advisory Committee, which is the 4th Tuesday of every month. And we particularly want to invite you to February 25th, where we will be processing the information from this event and thinking about how we can improve our services in Service Area 5. We have 2 service area stakeholder processes. One is our SAC, and the other is the West Side Mental Health Network. And we actually work together in our service area. So we have leadership from both groups come together. We plan trainings, we plan educational events. But one of the things that the West Side Network does is it produces the directory that you also have, which is not only our department resources, but all the resources in our service area. So if you're wondering, you hear about a program or a person, myself, and you want to know how to get a hold of them, it's in your directory. There's so much information in there. At this meeting, I have some wonderful staff, as we also do at the SAC, and I just want people to know, if you came here today and you're trying to figure out how to navigate the mental health services system, or you need a resource, please talk with us. We're always there to help figure out how to get you connected with services. So we can do it here. You can feel free to call my office. Also in your packets are the goals that the SAC have worked on over the past year and that the network have worked on. So if you want to get a sense of what we do, there's some really good information in there. I want to highlight, I can't go through all the services because it would take hours. I want to highlight a few programs using the structure that Dr. Sharon used about community, our green, and we'll go to yellow, and we'll go to red. So in the green, in Service Area 5, we have a couple of prevention initiatives that are really exciting. One of them is outreaching to our largest underserved cultural group, which are Spanish-speaking communities. And we have, the Promotora program is right here, they're represented. We have many individuals who've been trained to go out and do presentations and to educate. And that program, as Dr. Sharon said, will be expanding to include other groups. Spanish speaking is our largest. We also have a fairly large Farsi community, but we want to outreach to all individuals who should be receiving services but may not be. Another prevention program that Dr. Sharon mentioned briefly, Health Neighborhoods. We have 3 health neighborhoods in Service Area 5. One's in the Pico Robertson community, one's in the Marvis Palms community, and the last one, which includes the SPY program that you just heard from, is Dennis, Marina Del Rey. And health neighborhoods merge health, mental health, and substance abuse services to really focus on those social determinants of health that we want to address. Second, I want to talk about treatment services. There are many, but I really want to highlight we have many wonderful child and family services programs, and the bulk of them are offered in schools. So schools are where we reach children and families. They can certainly come into our clinics, but we have really robust programs. Crisis, the yellow. Although we don't have many hospitals in Service Area 5, we have Exodus Urgent Care Center. So hopefully if you're in our community, you know where that is. You can walk into it. First responders can bring somebody to it, and it will either help you feel better in a short period of time, one day. It can send people to the hospital, but I think most importantly, it also flows people to Alcott's transitional housing program where they can stabilize for months. Or they can transition you to a crisis program where you can stay for 30 days. They can transition you to substance abuse services. So it's a very important gateway. And last, I want to talk just briefly about our home team. So that's for our disengaged population in Service Area 5. Our home team works really closely with Coordinated Entry System, and we take on those folks who have the most serious and persistent mental illness. And yes, it can take a long time to build up the trust, to help link them into services. That team is expanding thanks to Dr. Sharon's advocacy. So we have folks with lived experience, we have clinicians, we'll be expanding to psychiatrists, nurses, substance abuse counselors, all working on the streets. It's 100% field-based to engage those folks that need engagement. So those are just a few highlights of our program, and again, I want to thank especially our SAC leadership in making this happen. Thanks.
Thank you, Jackie. I'd like Tim Davis to hang in the wings, please. Service Area 5 has a relatively new member of the SAC chair, and that would be Tristan Scrimmen. Tristan Scrimmen I met when I first came to Service Area 5, along with another wonderful person who is Jim the Hat Whitener. Would you both come out, please? Thank you. And they also chair a subcommittee that we started, which is for client activities. And that group meets 1 hour before our regular meeting on Thursdays. And I encourage you to come to those meetings, especially the next one, because at the next one we will be talking about this meeting. And then following that, the commission will be writing a paper on what happened at this meeting and what our suggestions are going forward. But thank you very much for being here, both of you.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Stacy, for a wonderful introduction. We want to talk a little bit about what mental health clients are doing here in SAC 5. We do meet every month, 1 hour before the SAC meeting, so everyone please join us. Jim and I are the co-chairs. One of the things we're working on, this should be on every table, we are developing a community newspaper about folks who are experiencing homelessness or living on the streets or don't have houses. Jim and I started this paper. We partnered with Painted Brain and also the amazing people at SAC. Sergio took us out along with Josie and William on the home team. We went with the home team, see what was happening in Venice. Amazing stuff. Super powerful to see that, you know, the struggle that people have, you know, living on the streets. So we wanted to highlight that a little bit. Some of the other stuff that we're doing, we had a conference in 2017 called Open Discovery, and we are also looking to do a couple more events this coming year. To talk a little bit more about the newspaper and our ideas about it, I'm going to turn it over to Jim the Hat, who's also the co-chair.
Good morning, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'll be glad that we all are able to be here together with the commissioners and SAC 5. This is a miracle. It's a miracle. We can appreciate that we have our commissioners and you ladies and gents at this special SAC 5 event. Rise. Community Speak News. This is to be published for the homeless to be empowered because we want to see them step up that they can aspire. Rise will be able to help them to see that homelessness is just an illusion. We want to be able to help them to see that they don't have to go by this conclusion. Rise. Community Speak News providers will be able to navigate the homeless, tell the stories that they can see themselves in a better life. This way they'll be able to be safe, have courage, and be able to go to higher heights. Rise. Community Speak News. Newsflash. Share, #1 in collaborative housing. #1 by nature. Yesterday, a little pup called Chewy came in, homeless, looking for a friend. He had been able to stay there all day, but that was not the end. He was able to share, see how they care. He loved it in. Now he found a home, and he never will be alone.
Right.
Community Speak News will certainly use a certain source of universal hope and share to be able to help those homeless who have forgotten their views. Guys, Community Speak News, we all see this kind of unity because Dr. J will help us to see the healthy neighborhood community rise. The Community Speak News, giving people the gift of the homeless, the gift of people, purpose, and fulfillment. With your loyal support, commissioners and SAC 5, we appreciate that you are at this event. Rise to be able to help us to meet these goals and rise, ladies and gentlemen.
We got information for anyone who wants to contribute to the paper. We really want to just tell stories about people living on the streets and some of the struggles and triumphs and difficulties that they have.
Thank you so much. This publication is something that I'm so excited about.
I watched the idea form and finally to have it come to fruition and in time for our meeting today. I think that they've done a wonderful job, so please take a copy with you, and there will be more to come. I also, thank you, because I keep forgetting to say this, how many people think they might want to have something to say during public comment? And are all of your comment cards in? Because if they're not, please raise your hand. Someone will bring you a comment card. There might be some on your table. Keep your hands up until you have received one. Fill it out right away so that we can calculate how much time we will have for everyone to speak. We're hoping that we have plenty of time, but just in case, we'd like to know ahead of time. I am both a proud member of Al-Anon and a member of NAMI. I am table outside, along with our peer resource center. We only have one peer resource center in the county. It is located in the main DMH building, and if you have not been there, you have to go. And after you go and are incredibly impressed with what's happening, you need to go back to your neighborhood and insist that one be built in your neighborhood. Because what they do there runs the gamut of what people need. And they're having a great Super Bowl party on Super Bowl Sunday. So if you'd like to come, that would be a great time to come down and find out what's happening. As a member of NAMI, I have learned so much about myself and about my family of origin as well. And I'm happy to say that we have two people here from NAMI who are going to speak briefly about NAMI and how you might want to get involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Yes, I will introduce myself and my colleague here. Good afternoon. My name is Tim Davis. I am actually I'm the program director with NAMI Westside Los Angeles, and I love to say that like a lot of my NAMI colleagues here today, NAMI Westside is the affiliate that provides services for the SAC 5 area. And it's really a thrill to be here today, also with Elizabeth Stevens, who's our outreach coordinator, and she wears a couple of other hats for us, and I'm going to tell you about those hats in a second. First, I want to tell you about our services. I need to go really quick here. So this is sort of like speed dating for mental health services. Yes, okay. But the good news is you don't just have to pick one person, you pick us all. We all are providing great resources. What NAMI has, what NAMI Westside Los Angeles has, are free classes for family members who have loved ones with mental health conditions. 2 years ago, I didn't even know NAMI existed. And it was actually almost exactly 2 years ago that my son had his first manic episode. I was quickly introduced to NAMI Westside. I took the class within a month, and all of a sudden this community of activated support sprung up around us. And that's how NAMI works. And we were lucky enough, we took I know there's some family support group leaders here too. We have support groups that run year round. Our classes are 12 weeks long, and they're held seasonally. But as we get more resources, we're able to provide more of these classes to the community. I also feel a special passion for a program called Ending the Signs. And I've heard a lot of people talk about, helping kids with mental health conditions, or helping kids learn how to become friends to people with mental health conditions. That's what Ending the Silence does. We go into schools and we talk to kids about a range of mental health conditions. We talk to them about how to talk about mental health, how to prioritize their mental health, and we have these incredible, stirring conversations with them. And even if they don't participate in the Q&As, you see the lights go on. You see them start to realize, oh yeah, I can talk about, I talk about my son in these programs. By the way, my son has gotten trained after getting some recovery and after 3 manic episodes and a couple stays in some psychiatric wards, he got trained to give this presentation with me, and he is now off at Boston University, which is why I wear this cap. This cap is a symbol of hope. There's always hope, and that's another thing we can tell the kids. And what's so great about these presentations is it's not just an old guy spouting facts and figures. We also have youth presenters who come, and it sort of demystifies mental health conditions for these kids, because they see people like Elizabeth, who is one of our peer presenters, like my son, who stand up there and they talk about battling anxiety and depression, or bipolar disorder, or schizophrenia, and learning how to live with it, learning how to manage it, and learning how to live successful lives. And my son is now in the middle of his freshman year at Boston University, and takes medication. I'm so impressed by all the commissioners sharing their personal experience with mental health. Well, we get to tell the kids, so they don't have to wait, like me, into their adulthoods to start talking about mental health and taking care of their own mental health. So we also have some great peer programs, and I want Elizabeth here, who's our outreach coordinator and runs a lot of our peer programs, to tell you about them. But thrilled to be here today. Please come see me later or come visit our table and find out how you can take advantage of these resources.
Thank you, Tim. So I'm here to just briefly talk about our peer programs. We have both support groups and classes. So our support groups are completely free. Peers can drop in, and they're led by trained peers. So we have one at Cedars-Sinai as well as D.D. Hirsch in Culver City. And we also have peer classes. So we have an 8-week free educational program for people with mental health conditions. And every week there's curriculum that goes over a different aspect of living with a mental health condition and going through recovery. Having gone through the class and now facilitating it, it's one of my favorite things that I do through NAMI Westside LA. And it really developed such a great community over those 8 weeks of peers. And just so rewarding and so grateful to be working here at NAMI Westside. Thank you.
Thank you all. One more second. I want to bring, we gave some presentations in the last couple of days at John Adams Middle School. And so this program, I should have said, is for high schools and middle schools. And we had 12 and 13-year-old kids coming up to us afterwards talking about their friends that they were worried about. But so happy now that we were giving them some language and some ideas about how to help their friend. So we are really helping create a culture of compassion with NAMI. So again, kudos to all my NAMI colleagues here, and please take advantage of our free resources. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I learned so much from NAMI. Because I have people here from Service Area 5 and probably from Santa Monica, something that I recently heard was that Santa Monica has not had NAMI on campus into their schools. And I was hoping that Active Minds would be here as well. Active Minds is a program across the country. Oh, we have two. Raise your hand, stand up. Okay. A peer program that is in the colleges across the county, across this country, I'm sorry. But any of you who are in Service Area 5 and or in Santa Monica, I really encourage you to write to Ben Dradi, who is the superintendent. I'll be at the next Board of Education meeting to encourage him to bring mental health education and services into the schools starting at the youngest age that we currently educate. So I appreciate all of your help in that. So this is on two, great. We're going to move to public comment. We have a stack of cards here. Once again, if you want to speak, get your cards in. We're going to start with people from Service Area 5, since that's our focus here, and then we'll move on to